Hi and welcome to No War Zone. Major developments in the recent past in the sphere of politics and elsewhere as well. The IDP issue, for instance. After continuing pressure from international agencies, a few weeks ago the government lifted its restrictions on freedom of movement, allowing those within the camps to visit friends and relatives in and around Vaunia. Although many of them may still be closely monitored, the people appear understandably relieved to be able to move around without fear and to start life outside of camp areas. While their release from the camps is welcome, the concern now is that many are returning to their former villages, even though there is no longer any kind of infrastructure in place. In addition, as the location of the heaviest fighting during the final stages of the war, these areas are still contaminated by mines. Hopefully, processes of return will be refined in the coming months as the last of the displaced look forward to putting camp life behind them. The end of resettlement presents new and different challenges for the government and aid agencies to ensure that returnees are truly able to rebuild and sustain their lives post-war. Next, Jeevan speaks with Mr. Jeevan Thiagarajah of the Consortium for Humanitarian Agencies to find out more about the developments and concerns involved in the current IDP resettlement procedures.
Camps have started to empty and people are returning to their home areas, and now there are new challenges that need to be addressed. Can you start this interview by talking about the collaboration that is needed between the government and NGOs?
Yeah, let me put a number to that. As at end of May, we had 282,000 persons who came in 2009 as displaced. Right now, we are down to 108,000 in Manic Farm and a total of 113,000 in total, Manic Farm plus liable for return. The Manic Farm was originally set up for 120,000 people, so we are now comfortably below maximum capacity. And the process is being done in two stages. That is, there is what I would call a dynamic process of return to home districts going on. In the meantime, the camps are open for people to move around as at 1 December.
And are the camps also open to humanitarian agencies like yours?
Absolutely, absolutely. The question you raised about the collaboration, this is something that has been going on for a couple of months, the discussions. 3 agencies have been doing that is Sevalanka, Sarvodaya and CHA. And we've been talking to the chairman of the Northern Task Force, and we have arrived at a common understanding, what I would call a framework, as at last month, which defines where we should be working and how.
And do you think that the government is putting in place infrastructure fast enough? What do you feel?
It's an interesting challenge because there is a push to return. So which is faster, return or building? So there were certain timelines to get up the bare essentials in terms of services, and I believe that is on track. The essentials to get communities up and going in the vital sectors of health, education. I know there is meaningful movement going on there. Buildings will take a time, no building will come up overnight. It will take 9 months to 1.5 years if you are really fast. So it will take time, but there are also, it doesn't mean that we are minus buildings, etc. There are certain public utilities, services which are available.
And now the government says that they plan to resettle all the people by the end of January. Do you think that's a realistic target?
The way the numbers are diminishing, I will not be surprised.
Looking into the future, what do you think are the future issues that need to be taken up?
Yeah, some of the things I would really like to do, it's so easy for us to live in the past. We talk about rations and all. I think no, to my mind what is more important is, can we beat that $1 a day per person threshold that we speak of? Can we get up to about $1.50? Can we get to $2 per person per day, which is 200 rupees, which is not a massive amount. But I think those should be the minimum thresholds we are working at, which is beating the poverty levels. How fast can we engage in both formal, non-formal and catch-up education? How fast can we get agricultural land up and going? IT services coming online? How fast can communities be reunited? what is also important is that not only the high end but the low end at the community level, 40% of the 2009 displaced are children, by the way, and I think we must in the rush not forget them. Over 50% happen to be women, by the way. Some happen to be single parent. And I think those are the vulnerabilities which we have to look at. There were close on 18,000 elders, 14,000 disabled people. So in those pockets of people must also be given special consideration. And I must say that we must not discriminate with what they call the old caseload, which are the older IDPs,
Certainly.
who must also be given an equal and rapid opportunity the way we are giving the 2009 displaced.
We hear of high security zones which are in some ways obstacles for people to get about their day-to-day lives. Like for instance in Silawaturi there is a Navy camp installation there and people say that they cannot engage in fishing and so on. So how do you think
there are these pockets? There is, we have that high security zone in Jaffna, we have a little bit in Trincomalee, as you say in Manad as we have. I think some kind of security assessment has to take place now as to what are the numbers and infrastructure required by the military in terms of their perception of threat or otherwise. And yes, that's an issue which continues to be looked at.
And finally, humanitarian agencies no doubt have a big role to play in the months and years to come. At what point do you see agencies phasing out of this whole thing?
Emergency shouldn't be lasting more than another 3-4 months. We should be walking into recovery, early recovery, and early recovery meaning rehabilitation, and moving to development. So I imagine within a 12-month period, 6 months and less of the settling in phase with a parallel process of recovery and rehabilitation, and the last 9 to 12 months starting to work on development issues. So we are really going to see a fairly dynamic changing environment in which we should be investing in very soon.